Did you guys make your baby on the honeymoon?
Matthew, that's personal.
Oh my gosh.
Our plan was to wait like 6 months and then just got wild hair.
Wild hair.
Wait.
It's like a saying.
I've never heard him say that.
Was it like a whoopsies moment where you're like, oh shoot?
No, I was just like, well, nothing will happen. 6 weeks later, she's like, surprise, shawty. And I'm like, oh. We took a break for about 6 to 7 months.
Was it technically a breakup or was it more of a break?
It was a breakup.
Wow.
She wanted a very serious thing, and I was still over here in this college movie scene, basically. That caused a lot of tension.
Things got kind of toxic.
I'm not a social media guy. Like,
Yeah.
she filmed a video on me. I didn't even have TikTok downloaded. The next day, she sent me a screenshot and was like, it has 4 million views.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
What's up, dudes? And welcome back to the Unplanned podcast.
You always say it that way.
Yeah,
And I always
know.
feel like going, "Bah, bah, bah."
We really should get like a ham horn in here. That'd be so funny.
I think we'd have more people click off than they probably
Get a
end up right
cowbell.
away.
Get a cowbell.
Dude, I tried to kill. I wanted to get rid of What's Up, dudes, and then everybody in the comments was like, "You cannot get rid of What's Up, dudes. Like it's just part of you guys."
That's your
now.
It's your
thing.
staple.
It's our thing.
Yeah,
it's
that's
what we
I
do.
said. Mhm.
You know. So
We're
anyway,
obnoxious. Okay.
today we are joined by Taylor and Soph. The TikTok sensations have over 4 million TikTok followers. They literally posted their first TikTok in June of 2022, which is crazy. In 1 year, you guys have blown up so fast. You got engaged, you got married, now you're pregnant. Like what? This is insane. And you guys are only 19 and 21. I can't believe that.
We're zooming. We're
You
zooming
guys,
through
you
life.
guys are just like accelerating through life at a speed of I just can't even fathom that. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here. Let's give it up for
Thank you.
Taylor and Soph.
We're so excited.
So excited.
How was the journey out here? Did you guys have to do like a couple connecting flights, or did you fly direct? How did that work?
We flew direct. Sophia got extremely hot on the airplane. I think she gets hot on every airplane. So they're kind of...
Is it just because you're trapped in there?
I think I'm claustrophobic, like full time. Yeah. But it really, really was hot. Like it wasn't just me.
How do you feel in elevators? Abby hates elevators.
Honestly, I don't have that bad of a problem with elevators. I am
Okay.
just scared to get stuck in one, but it's not that bad for me.
I think with me, it like crowded spaces that are compact. I'm just like, I don't think I'm
Yeah.
getting enough oxygen right now. And then
Yeah.
And then you start freaking yourself
start
out.
freaking
Yeah,
out, start
that's
getting
the problem.
hot.
Were people like passing out on the airplane? Was it that hot, or
Yeah.
was it?
This woman, like 2 rows in front of us, you could tell she was like, I think she was about to pass out. And I think they were like bringing her medicine and stuff.
They
and
brought
had
her ice, too.
Yeah. Like she was definitely about to pass out.
That was about to be Sophia. She
I
was
was literally
like
like, I'm
watching
her.
her.
I'm her.
Oh my
Wait, was
God.
this in Phoenix or in Georgia?
This was the flight from Atlanta to Phoenix. Like just the whole flight.
I guess it's really hot in Atlanta too.
It's funny you guys being from Georgia, because like I just assumed after meeting our friends Devin and Hunter, like I just thought, okay, everyone in the South has this like really thick Southern accent, but yours isn't as strong. It's kind of subtle, and I kind of like it. You know, nothing wrong with like a really strong Southern accent, but it's kind of like it's a new twist on it. You know?
Yeah, I feel like each accent from state to state varies. Like even like in North Georgia, you'll hear a totally different slang, and even words are different than compared to South Georgia. So it's
Yeah.
just like way different.
I love yesterday how you said fried chicken when you were ordering at the
I
restaurant.
pointed that out. I was like, your accent came out so much more when you said fried chicken.
Yeah, I want some fried chicken. It was fun. I
That's
love
our
that.
daily meal.
I don't realize we have Southern accents until we are with someone who's not like Southern
Yeah.
at all, I guess. And they point it out. I'm like, oh, really?
So what do you call our accent? Like we have an accent to you guys then, right?
No, I feel like y'all sound the same as us.
Except for when we said
okay.
caramel.
Yeah,
were
Yeah.
you guys call it caramel, or what? What do you say?
Caramel.
Yeah.
That-
Caramel?
Caramel.
Why?
Caramel?
Caramel.
What about pecan?
Yeah, you said that differently yesterday. We say pecan.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah. Are you guys in the same crowd as Devin, where you say like bold instead of boiled?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's got it way stronger than
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I'd say boiled, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. So I want to backtrack a second. This TikTok thing, I feel like blew up overnight for you guys. Like it seemed, just from talking to you, it seemed like you posted one video back in June of 2022, and immediately it just took off, and you just were like, okay, let's keep doing this, and kept posting and posting. How did you go from, just living out, normal lives as, you were in college. I don't know if you were in college at the time last year, but like talk to me about what this change has been like.
Yeah, so originally how it started was like, to put it in perspective, I'm not a social media guy. Like,
Yeah.
I was never a social media guy. I pretty much only had Instagram, could barely function it. I'd post like one picture every 3 years or something.
Yeah.
Like, and Soph over here was like the social media pro. She was posting every single week on Instagram and stuff like that. And one day, like, I didn't even have TikTok downloaded. She filmed a video on me And at the time, I like didn't have a clue that it was being filmed or anything. The next day, she sent me a screenshot and was like, "It has 4 million views," and it was literally like 12 hours later. And I was like, started doing the math. I was like, "Wow, 4 million people is actually like a lot of people."
And that got us like, I don't remember exactly, but one video doing that will get you like 50K followers.
Yeah.
So we went from 0 to like having 50K followers and a video that big. So we had to keep posting.
So then she kept doing like the same similar type stuff, and then eventually, I think around 1 million followers, I downloaded TikTok because I was like, oh, it actually is kind of serious.
Yeah.
So I was like, 1 million followers, it's cool. So I downloaded it, and then the rest has been history from there. It was just
When was the first time that you like made any sort of money from that? Because I remember for us, I think our first day on YouTube AdSense, we made like $4. And I was thrilled because I just thought it was the craziest thing that I could like make money posting videos online. When was that for you guys?
Yes. So her dad. It's this funny thing. So like a weekend, we met all the requirements for the Creator Fund on TikTok, and so we were like, well, let's join that. That'd be cool. And so I remember like the first week we were making maybe like $8 to $10 a day. Like it was very minimal, but it was still money. And I remember I was talking to her dad, and I was like, I thought I was just this big shot. I was like, this is so awesome. I was like, me and Soph can get free lunch every day if we make this. I remember me and him always joked about it. I was like, that's a Chick-fil-A meal that's a Chick-fil-A meal that I can have every day for free.
If we
Yeah.
just post
If we
a
just
video.
keep posting videos. And he was like, dude, I remember he was so supportive. He was like, yes, that is so awesome. And we were just so hype about like 10 to 20 bucks a day. I thought it was like unheard of. Yeah.
And then we started getting emails of like companies wanting to like work with us and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't long after that we had management reach out, and then we started with them. I think we were at like 500K followers on TikTok when we got management. And so from there it was just we hit 1 million followers in 1 month, and then like 2 million the next month, and then 3 million the next month.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I remember that because it was a
that's
million.
a crazy speed. How did all of this affect your relationship? Because I know you guys have been dating since 2020. So all of a sudden now you're making videos together. You're almost like business partners in a way, right?
Yeah.
So like, how did that affect your relationship?
I had so much fun doing it. So it was kind of just, it gave us something to do, because when we were dating, it was just like boyfriend, girlfriend hanging out all day.
And we had no money, so it wasn't like we were doing anything.
Yeah.
So this gave us like a brand new hobby that we both were having fun with and loving. And so I feel like it brought us even closer together than before, because we were literally spending every waking moment talking about social media, just dreaming, honestly. And now a lot of those dreams have come true, which is so surreal to even think about. But yeah, I'd say it like really, really strengthened our relationship. Don't get me wrong, like there were tensions. Like when I try to film a dance video, I can't dance, and so like we'd be there for 4 hours trying to film a dance video.
We learned
and
we can't do those anymore.
That's so funny.
Soph would not understand how I couldn't be on beat. But anyways, I would say in total it strengthened our relationship like a
That's
lot.
really cool. It's been such a whirlwind, I feel like, because that was in June, and then you guys got engaged, a big life event in November. Tell us about your engagement.
Yeah, so I knew, like, Soph, when I first met her, had always wanted to get married young. In my mind, I was like, I'm never going to get married young. Never say never, obviously. But that had never crossed my mind. And then I'd say around, like, August is when I really came to the decision, like, okay, this is who I know I want to spend the rest of my life with. I love her with my whole heart. She makes me a better man. So I started looking into rings and stuff like that, and just started planning the proposal from there. Got her dad's permission.
How did that conversation go?
Yeah,
It seems like your parents are so easygoing, though, from what I've heard about them, and friendly. Like, it wasn't. Were you nervous?
Well, so I was nervous. I mean, he definitely had an idea that it was coming, just because he knows how Soph is, and everyone had, like, I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of people have an idea when, like, okay, in the next 6 months I'm gonna get engaged. In the next 12 months I'm getting engaged. Yeah. So he had an idea that it was coming, and me and him, like, we are best friends. Like, we hang out, I'd say, as much as me and Soph. Like, we do things for like 12 hours at a time, like hike, all that type of stuff. So it's like we're best friends. So I went over. So I called him up and told him, I said, hey, can I come over? I knew Soph and her mom were out shopping. And he was like, yeah, come on over. So I went over and just told him how much I love Sophia, how good I would treat her, and asked for his permission. And he was crying. I was crying. Aww. It was just a surreal
I wish there was like a video
moment.
of it because he tells me the story, but I'm like, oh, I wish I was there.
And it was in the exact same spot I first met him. So
wow.
It was cool.
Yeah.
How long?
So sweet.
That's really sweet. Did you guys have a solid relationship like since 2020, or was that a more recent development of you guys becoming really close?
Yeah, so like I said, I was never in the mind space of like, hey, I want kids really young. I want to be married really young. I was just very teenage boy, immature mindset, while Soph had this like 40-year-old woman mindset. I hadn't been exposed. I hadn't been exposed to that in my life. Like, just it never crossed my mind. None of my friends were in that same space or anything like that. So that caused a lot of tension early in our relationship. You know, she wanted a very, very, very serious thing, and I was still over here in the high school era, you know, early college era. And so we, you know, like I said, that caused tension. And so eventually we got to the point where we were like, hey, we just need to take a break. This is, at one point it was pretty toxic where we were just like, this is not working. You know, we're making each other worse, and, you know, we're not building each other up as we should be doing as Christians and as a couple in general. You know, we're just not making each other better. And so we took a break for about 6 to 7 months. In 2021.
Yeah. So I think he was asking about you and Dad's relationship, like if it was strong
totally
from the
good.
beginning.
I didn't know,
This is interesting.
but this is really interesting.
Okay.
I didn't know that you guys broke up. But was it technically a breakup, or was it more of a break, or what would how did you classify it at the time?
It was a breakup. Like it
Wow.
was. Yeah, we've shared it before on social media and stuff. But we dated for about a year, from like March to March.
Yeah, and you were 16, you were 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this was right when he had been in college for about almost a year at this point.
Okay.
And I like to let him speak on it more because it was more on his side.
And
Wait,
so
who initiated it?
So
Who broke up with who?
So I initiated it at the time. Like, this goes into like my testimony and stuff with Christ. Like, I just wasn't in a good headspace. I chose a different life than, or I wanted at the time. I thought I wanted, you know, the party scene and this downtown scene and this just college movie scene basically over Sophia at the time.
This is when you went to college? You went off to college? So you're like, you know what? I want to go live it up in college and enjoy it.
And at the time, we were arguing a good bit. Like, it just wasn't. So we were trying to do distance. So I was like, all right, you know, we're just going to have to break up. And so we broke up. I definitely did not spend my time wisely. But luckily, I had people pouring into me. I got involved in a local church. I quickly got out of that rut and out of that mindset. And at the time, me and Soph hadn't like completely cut off communication. Like, we weren't hanging out, but like she could text me or, you know, whatever. We weren't like having conversations, but like
we'll say we communicated at least once a month. Like, so but it took until a whole nother year for us to start officially dating again.
Whoa.
And so I took like 6 months where I was literally at church every day, hanging out with the right people, doing all these things just to make sure my walk with the Lord was good, because I didn't want to hurt Sophia in a relationship. And so we ended up communicating again, and the rest was history. From that point, I was just a lot more mature than I had been. And so my life completely changed in a sense. And so I walked back into the relationship knowing, hey, I already know I want to marry Sophia. I know I want to have kids young. I know this is the ultimate goal. And this was all like before social media. So,
right before.
Yeah.
We got back together, I think, March or April of 2023. And then started social media June.
Whoa.
Got engaged the same year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, that would have been 22.
22.
Oh, 22. Sorry.
22.
Why did I check my
2022,
watch?
sorry.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I was like, what
I've
year
got my
is
years
it?
confused. 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow, I did
How did
not
you-
know this whole part of your story.
I had no idea either. were you still in love with him when he broke things
Yeah.
off? How did that make you feel?
It was like the worst year of my life.
Oh my God.
Although, so when we had first dated that whole year, I'm pretty sure we had a bunch of silly breakups. Like I think I broke up with him a couple, like, just the silly, like,
Yeah.
we're fighting, we're done. And so, but I never, when it was like that official breakup, I was like heartbroken. I wanted to be together, even though things were bad in the relationship. I still wanted to be together. Like, it wasn't worth not being together. But looking back, it's definitely what we needed. Like, if we didn't take the break or whatever we want to call it, things just never would have worked out, and we would have never come to the realization of a bunch of things. But yeah, I got to the point though a couple times, because he was going through some rough things over those months, where I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm over it. Like, if he texts me, I'm not going to text him back, things like that. But then randomly that one time we ended up getting back together, I had noticed how he had been changing and things like that. And so I was willing to talk to him, and we talked, and it took us like 2 months, I think. We were like, let's just, start talking again and see how things go before we make this like official, because I wanted to make sure things were going to be different that time, and they were. So it all worked out.
What did the people in your lives that were like close to you at the time like think about that? Because I feel like there is definitely like a stigma about getting back together with an ex.
Yeah, and so at the time I had a lot of friends that I wouldn't call them friends. They were more like acquaintances that weren't very great influences. And so once they heard the news that I was getting back with Sophia, they did not find that very fun, because
Really?
that meant those relationships would end just because they weren't beneficial. They also weren't ever like really pouring into me. And so they were just encouraging me to do things that weren't going to build me up or make me a better person.
His family liked me.
They were
good.
obsessed with
Yeah.
Sophia.
You were
That's
the
good.
good influence.
Yes, they were mad at him about this whole breakup
Oh,
thing.
really?
Yeah.
And how did your dad feel about this? Was your dad pretty mad?
So my dad, the breakup was just as hard on him as it was on me, because
Aw.
like you were asking earlier, they hit it off right away. They were
Really?
BFFs, like over that first year of dating. BFFs, yes. So he was heartbroken too, obviously, just because he lost his like buddy, but then
Yeah.
also for me because I'm his daughter, and he saw how sad I was and everything. And so for a while, when we would like talk throughout, when we weren't actually dating, just like we would talk, and I think we hung out a few times. They weren't super happy about it, just because he was still, kind of being the same, and they just were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But then they trust me, and when we got back together, I was like, I wouldn't be getting back together if I didn't think it was a good idea. And so, it took a little bit of time, I think, for them to just know that everything was going to be okay that time around. But
Were you living at home at this time?
yes, I lived at home until we got married.
Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah. But yeah, the bond is quickly back together,
Yeah.
and they are BFFs again. So.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm curious, like, what advice you would give to like someone that's contemplating like getting back together with their ex, because we're very strange in the fact that we don't have exes.
Yeah.
It's not like a normal thing, and we've gotten that question before, and my knee-jerk response would be like, no,
Yeah.
do not get back.
But we also came close. Like, there were a few times throughout our relationship where we thought about breaking up. There were a couple.
yeah.
There were a couple, and we just didn't. And so, like, yeah, I'm curious what your take is
Yeah,
on
what
that.
would you
'Cause
say?
It clearly worked out for you guys.
Right.
Yeah, I would say it just depends, like, on the situation. Like, there was a true life change that happened in my life, which caused me from being, hey, he's going down the wrong path. He's doing this, and this. And then it was just like a complete 180 to go back and say, okay, I'm turning away from that and, turning a different way. And so Soph realized that. I feel like,
Yeah, it's hard. We get a lot of messages just from like younger girls just being like, I'm going through a breakup, like, because we've posted it before, like, about how we got back together.
Yeah.
It's hard because my initial thing is typically don't get back together,
Yeah.
because most of the time, things don't change. But yeah, he really had a serious life and heart change. So it really just depends on the situation.
Who reached out first after the break? Who was trying to get back with who?
I was like super over it. And so still, like, I was like, I didn't think he had changed yet. I didn't know. So he reached
Yeah, I
out.
reached
Really?
out to Sophia.
You're like, I screwed up.
Yeah, I had been thinking about it for a while, and it's the craziest thing. I'll never know if this was by accident. Soph thinks it's by accident. But I had posted a story. It was like a Bible verse, and her mom slid up with a heart on it. And I had, and Lord willing,
told me.
So her mom slid up with like a heart on my Instagram story. And so I had already been thinking
What
about
is it
like
with our parents always accidentally doing
Yeah.
stuff?
I
on
was
like,
social
how do you
media?
accidentally
and
do
the parents
that?
getting involved in the relationship too. Like that's so funny
Yeah.
to me. Like, yeah.
So I was just like, oh, this is a sign. Like, it's time for me to reach back out to Soph. And I had already, like, been thinking about it. Like, it was going to be within the next week or so. But then that was just, like, confirmation. So I texted Sophia, and I was like, hey, do you think we could grab dinner tomorrow night? You know, if not, I totally understand. Hope you're okay. And then I think that was it. And she was like,
And something just told me to say yes.
And so this was like a year and a half ago.
Yes.
yeah.
Like, we literally.
Like I feel like when we're talking about this, I feel like it's like
It's like-
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we've been together for 7 years. So I can't believe how fresh and new all this for you guys. Because I don't know, I almost feel like I've been through a lot of the same things you guys have been through. Not like the breakup thing, but just as far as your relationship and then obviously social media. But it's all been condensed into like a year for you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that to me like is mind-boggling because these are big life changes. Like getting married is a big life change. Engagement is a big life change. Getting back together with an ex is a big life change. So what month was that in 2022?
That would have been like,
I think you reached out maybe February, and we officially
Okay.
started dating March.
Wow.
So
And so did you guys feel like infatuation come back in again? Because I know for us, infatuation after like 2 years was kind of gone after dating 2 years. But I don't know what that was like of dating 1 year, then going a year off, and then coming back on.
yeah,
again.
I would say it was like the sparks, like it was just like we first met again.
I think it was even more because
Yeah.
it was like so much healthier
Yeah.
and so much better. We started having a lot of problems the first time we dated. We had a lot of problems like pretty early on into the relationship, so things got kind of toxic early on. So I think things were even better when we
Yeah.
got back together, and it was
sure.
great. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you could please share this podcast episode with your grandma. I feel like she'd just really love to listen to it. Also, maybe your stepmom. Would that be a good person to share it with?
Or your personal trainer.
Personal trainer, that could also be good. What do we think about sharing it with your gym buddy? Would
Definitely.
that be good?
What about your neighbor's mom?
Your neighbor's mom?
Or maybe even your neighbor's dog. I mean,
Yeah. Potentially this would be good for a dog to listen to. I don't know. I've heard dog podcasts are really on the rise. I don't know if we would definitely like fall in that category.
give us
but-
a good bark, Matt.
Wait, what the crap? Oh my gosh. Share this podcast with your neighbor's mom's dog. If you could just do that, we'd really appreciate it. Tell me about how you got your wife such a beautiful engagement ring.
Yeah, let's hear about the proposal.
Sophia's engagement ring might be the prettiest engagement ring I've
it's
ever
beautiful.
seen. That thing is fat. Okay, can we just say it? Can I just say it? That's an amazing ring.
impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so she actually is the one that like kind of helped.
You picked it
I
out.
kind of
You picked it out.
I'm,
You're like, I want the biggest one.
I mean, in a sense, she designed it. And so we worked with the company Hellsberg, and they helped us get the ring, and we haven't looked back. I mean, I just look at the
awesome.
ring now.
What was the
love it.
day of the proposal like?
So I was so nervous, like absolutely so nervous. But I had told Sophia. So I growing up, I worked at a veterinarian's office.
Okay.
And so I told her that, hey, it was around Thanksgiving. I said they're having a Thanksgiving party for the vet, and they're doing it at this big church. And my bosses, the veterinarians, were very religious, and so that was not far-fetched to say, hey, they're renting out a church to do this Thanksgiving party. I was like, yeah, there's gonna be guest speakers like other veterinarians coming and speaking from the community. I was like, we've got to dress up. It's a nice dinner.
And to put it in perspective, I always pick up on things like surprises. I know everything that's going on.
Okay,
but I had no idea.
Be honest though.
Had no idea.
You knew what was going on.
No idea. He started
even
bringing
just
it
a
up.
little bit?
He started bringing it up like a month ahead of time.
4 weeks
no
before.
idea.
Really?
Before.
Really?
It's weird because I always know when things are going
Abby
on.
didn't know about hers, which I still have a hard time believing because like she told me she wanted me to propose in Disney World, but I had told her so many times like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. We should hold off. That
Yeah.
she just did not think it was going to happen, and then I decided to do it anyway. But so you're saying like you really did not even have an inkling?
And you didn't? You really
I had an
didn't?
inkling.
You had an inkling?
Just like wondering.
No.
Exposed.
Wait, are you exposing me right now?
The
Did
truth
you
is
actually
coming
know?
out.
Did you?
Honestly, it's been so long. I literally actually don't remember the reality of. I remember being really shocked in the moment.
You were shocked. You were crying afterwards because
Yeah,
you were
'cause-
so shocked. You're like,
Well,
"Is this
also,
real?"
Nobody of her family or friends
Yeah,
was
we-
there.
Just a bunch of
And,
strangers.
I mean, yeah, just a bunch of strangers. He handed his iPhone to a random dude in like a Mickey shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like,
This random dad took a video for us. I just handed him my iPhone and.
Did he know what was going on?
No.
no, you hear
gosh.
the video. He's like, oh shoot. I mean, yes, of course, I was like caught off guard, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like I knew we were gonna get
Yeah.
engaged.
I made the decision like a week before. I had the ring for months.
like,
and
how
I
was
was
I
just,
supposed to know?
And I was just like,
Wow.
I was like, is this the right timing? I don't know. Is it? And I just sent it.
So yeah, I
Wow.
actually did not know if you made the decision a week before.
Yeah.
Did you get cold feet going into this?
No,
Be honest.
I
Not even
got
a little bit.
I got not even for the slightest second. Like
Really?
I said, once I reached back out to Soph and we started like dating again, like there was no question in my mind that this is who I should spend the rest of my life with.
Wow.
And so I had planned like weeks before this whole engagement and everything, and I truly believe Soph had no inclination, like not
Yeah.
even the slightest. Like she knew within like 8 months, but I don't even think she.
I thought it was gonna be at Christmas. Like I figured it was gonna be before the end of the year, but I really didn't think it was gonna be at this work party. I thought it was gonna be at Christmas
But
Day.
those photos, I saw the photos on Instagram, and those were some nice pictures.
Wait, I want to hear more. So you show up thinking it's a vet clinic party?
Yeah, so the only thing that was weird was that when we pulled up, I had been to this building before. It used to be a church, but it's now like a place where events are held. It was actually, it was a Catholic church, and his work people, they're Catholic. So it just made so much sense. Like it was just near where they lived and stuff. But when we got there was no one in the parking lot. But he was like, he was trying to tell me that there was like another parking lot to the place, and he called, who'd you call?
Sydney, she works at the vet too.
And he was acting like, hey, like, is everyone inside? Like, like he was acting like he was on the phone with someone he worked with who was
Matt,
supposed to
you
be
never
there.
could have pulled that off. I would have seen right through you.
I was actually shaking when I proposed to Abby.
That's
I was so
that's
nervous.
how I kind of knew.
Were you
Your
shaking?
body was
Oh.
Was he
shaking.
acting funny that
repeated
whole
You
it.
day?
trembling? Were you doing this? Just
I
like,
repeated the same thing over and over.
did you write down
I
what
was
you were
like,
gonna say?
Sophia, I love you so much, and I'm here because I love you so much, and I just love you.
Do you have this on video?
Yeah, it's on our YouTube. And
That's so funny.
I haven't even watched it yet. Like I don't think
Really?
because I'm like I was so nervous that I know what I was saying just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I literally stopped at a gas station. I told her I was like, I've got to use the bathroom. I must have ate
Looking
something.
back, I thought something
I
was
was
wrong with
miking
him.
up in the bathroom.
You might
was
up in
mic'd
the-
up.
Oh my God.
Raceway gas station bathroom. That was the name of it.
Did you just like look in the mirror beforehand, just be like,
And
Quite
planning
literally.
planning all of this out, like did you have a video crew there? Or, like how did you set this
He
whole
did
thing up?
so good.
Yeah, so I knew like what walking into this social media was. It had been like 6 months. Social media was a big part of our life, and I wanted
Yeah.
to include our subscribers, our followers, and stuff like that in on this as well. And so I had reached out to someone that she had mentioned before for like a photo shoot, and I was like, "Hey, y'all do video, you know?" They're like, "Yeah, totally." So I was like, "Okay, we need every single one of your workers there because this has to be right. We have to get good angles, good
Yeah.
everything." Because I was like, I have no idea about this stuff, so I was like, I'll pay whatever it takes. We've just got to get it done.
He also didn't know what any of it looked like. Like he didn't see the setup prior. He
You're
showed up
kidding.
at the exact same time I did and just hoped when the doors opened that like everything was set up. The photographer was in
Wow.
there.
Set
and
set it
things
up
like
for
that.
you.
So it was actually not expensive at all, but I hired an event planner basically.
Oh,
and so
nice.
it was worth every dime.
Did you think of this on your own, or did your mom be like, hire an event planner?
No,
Like,
so I was
did your mom
I
be
think my
like,
sister. I think
your sister.
I think my sister and my mom were like, dude, you got to do something.
because I came up with every idea, like, you know, how I wanted it to look, etc. And so her mom or sister, one of them, was like, hey, you know, this is a big thing, big project, so you probably need to hire someone to do it. And so I was like, okay. And then so I hired the event planner, told her, sent her pictures of exactly what I wanted, and she made it happen.
And did you have your nails done? Did he make sure
I
that you had your...
did.
Good job. Did you
And-
do that? Was that you that made sure she had her nails done?
I don't.
My sister and I went to get our nails done, I think. Did we?
That's awesome.
But I had no idea. I told myself, since I thought it was gonna be before the end of the year, I said I'm getting my nails done once a week. Like I usually don't get them done that often, but I was like, I need them to be fresh. So I was getting them done all the time because
every week she was getting nails.
You guys were talking about it, right? Like I'm sure you guys had the conversation.
Oh, yes.
This wasn't just like out of the blue.
No.
I just thought of a really random question, but thinking of like the expenses of like putting together this proposal and like your nails and stuff, like prior to doing social media, you guys said you really like didn't have a lot of money, which is normal for young couples. But how did this work when you guys were dating? Because I always wonder about dating couples that are like having a business on social media.
Oh yeah.
Because like our finances were obviously merged before like we started making money doing
We wouldn't
this.
recommend this. We merged our finances like 2 years before we got married.
But we weren't doing social media. We didn't do social media until we were married. So.
Oh, so like even just the money you were making from like your jobs, like
Yeah,
your
it was
minimum
all-
wage.
You're also poor, so it didn't really matter.
Nothing, so it really didn't make a difference.
That's cute.
But we knew we were going to get married, so we're like, whatever we can scrap together, it's going in the same pot.
We were trying to build up like a nest egg so that we could like move somewhere cool after we got married. Yeah.
That wasn't really
cute.
like the wisest idea.
Yeah.
Like, thank goodness
What
it
did you
worked
guys
out.
do? Did you guys
but
wait to combine your finances? till you were
We
married?
did not. As soon as we started social media and we realized like, okay, we're making money from this. Like I said, there was no doubt in my mind. Like when I reached back out to Soph, I had already known like this is the girl I'm going to marry.
Yeah.
Hoping to marry. I really want to marry, and there was no doubt in my mind. And so something like combining finances like didn't scare me at all because there was literally zero doubt that I was not going to marry Sophia. Like, it was 100% that was going to happen.
Which also, it's kind of like if you do social media, we didn't really know how we would even split money. We didn't think about it, but I don't even know how we would have done it. I guess we would have just halved it.
My question is, how many times can we say the word social media in this
Yeah,
podcast?
we should probably-
Or the two words. That's not one word. I feel like we've said it like 100 times.
chill out with
social
that.
media.
Social media.
Influencer.
But,
Creators.
Sorry, that was so weird.
Yeah.
so you said yes.
Said yes, and then we got married 3 months later.
What was that like? Because we were engaged for a year, and I
You
can't
guys,
take credit for planning
4
the wedding.
months. That's the move.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the freaking move.
That's
Yeah.
the move. A lot of people were like, oh, you're rushing, you're doing this, you're doing that. And we were like, we don't care. It's not your wedding, you know?
I
Boom.
always
I love that.
planned for a short engagement. Like even before I knew him, I was like, when I get engaged
You
to someone,
are someone that just like knew what you wanted in life,
And
and
she-
I love that about you.
And she got it. She
it
got
has
it.
all worked out really well. So
But the reason why we got married,
all worked out.
the reason why we got married so fast was because I was still in school, so it was either get married that March or get married the following November. So we were like, okay, either 3-month engagement or year-long engagement, and we were like, we're going with 3 months because we didn't want to wait.
His spring break, and so if we wanted to do a honeymoon after, we had to go on his spring break. So
But what about the summer?
I
So for-
refused to get married in the summer.
No.
I told y'all I have heat problems.
Oh
we're in Arizona and I'm like so hot. I
Oh
have heat
my
problems. I would have like passed out on our
Yeah,
wedding day.
honestly, we got married July 6th, and it
Oh,
was
wow.
really
It was freaking
sweaty.
hot.
Outside or inside?
It was inside, but
Okay.
our pictures were outside,
Yeah.
and I was sweating. Mosquitoes were sticking to my face.
Was anybody telling you guys to slow down? Because I know, like, for us, people were
I
worried.
mean, yeah, you were 19. Wait, were you 18 when you
No,
got
I was
engaged?
19.
You were 19.
You were 19 when you were engaged. So, whoa. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Sometimes in life we're faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear.
Look, when I was in high school, I used to get the craziest anxiety, and I didn't want people to know, and I wish I could go back and tell myself, hey, it's okay to do therapy. It's okay to tell people that you have this anxiety. Wow, I'm getting like, I feel weird even just saying that. But like, I don't know. I was just so scared of what people would think. But the thing is, therapy it's okay. There's nothing weird about it. There's nothing wrong about it. And it's actually a really good thing for you.
And if you want to give therapy a try, definitely try out BetterHelp. It's completely online. It's designed to be perfectly suited to your schedule. It's very flexible
Convenient.
and convenient. Yes. All you do is you go online and there's a brief questionnaire you'll fill out, and then they'll match you with a licensed therapist. And the great thing is, if that's not a good match for some reason, you can switch at any time, no extra charge, and they just make sure that you're in a comfortable fit for yourself.
Yeah, if you're someone like me back when I was in high school, don't be afraid. Don't be scared. It's okay to seek out help. It's okay to talk to somebody, and it's gonna really help you get through that hard time. I wish I could go back and change that. I wish I could just go back and tell myself, like, hey, therapy's okay. You can even tell your parents, like, and your friends, seek out help.
Yeah, definitely. And what's great is that they're all licensed, so you can trust it, talk it through with someone, So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/unplanned podcast today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/unplanned podcast.
Thank you, BetterHelp. Now, back to the episode.
Where people pump the brakes.
Anybody in your family or friends are like, hey, don't do this yet. Like, you're young, you're a teenager, like, don't get married. Like, anybody saying that at all?
Right. On my side, no. Like, my family, all for it, everything. I would say, did anyone on your side?
There was not really anyone. They were just like, hey, are you sure? Like, as far as like the engagement and the fast wedding, they're really more concerned about the fast wedding. And it was just like, hey, are you sure this is, this is what you want to do? Is it like, are you positive this is a big decision?
Totally.
And so that was just the really only concern, but it wasn't, I never heard someone in my close circle say, hey, this isn't a good idea, or maybe you should wait, or maybe you should slow it down. It was just like, hey, I trust you. If you think this is a good idea, then rock on.
Is it fairly common where you were living, or at least like people you were around, to get married at that age? No.
Not really. I mean, our parents got married really young, like 18 and 19.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Both of our parents, really.
My parents were 21. And so I think that's why they were for it, because, I mean, they did it. So who are they to tell us we shouldn't do it?
Yeah.
But no, it's really not that common.
Wow.
No, I'm the youngest out of all, like, my friends, and they're, like, none of them are married yet. And
something I will say about you, though, just from, like, the short amount of time we've spent together. We spent about 24 hours straight together so far. You are so mature for your age. I'm sure you're told that all the time. Like, no one would be like when you said you were 19, I was like, okay, mentally I knew that, but, like, you just don't carry yourself like a 19-year-old.
I would have thought you guys were like 23, 24. Yeah, because for me, I have a little brother who's 20, and he's a baby. He's my little brother. He's also like 230 pounds, like bigger than me, stronger than me, could beat me up, but he's my little brother. He's my baby brother. But hearing that you're younger than him, I was like, what? And you're married? And you're like having a baby? That's crazy.
Okay, but I mean, that's awesome. I was 19 when I got engaged.
Yeah. How did it feel to be, did it feel weird at all? Were you like, I'm a teenager and I'm engaged? Like, was that?
It feels weirder to be pregnant at 19. Like, I'm like, wow. But no, to me, it doesn't feel weird. Like I said, I've always like been surrounded by people who are older than me, and I've always just felt on the same like level as them. And so that's what I think confuses a lot of people too. I'm not.
You were also homeschooled, correct? Like you said, from first grade through high school. So I feel like that also could just like, you're not around your peers like you were saying. Right. So then you just kind of like, if you're around your parents more, they're older than you. And so then.
And my sister's older. And so, the friend group just kind of was always older. So
really cool. Okay. So you get married in March.
Was 4 months a good amount of time, by the way? Did you guys like that, or did you wish you had more or less time?
Was it a tough time too? Because I feel like we had some fights during engagement.
It was 13 months for us, and it sucked.
It was honestly, since it was so quick, there was like no time. Like, we were so almost out of time. Like, I just felt like every day was like something new we had to do, or like at least me. Like, I was just doing wedding dress things or this, so it flew by. I don't even think like. We were just so excited that we I don't think we really fought through the engagement.
It was a whirlwind.
Yes.
We were just filled with excitement, and we knew like, okay, March 4th, like this is when it's happening, and it was just like not that far away. So we just were so looking forward to it.
If it weren't for having a ton of help, like for my mom, she was basically like my wedding planner. We would have had to have more time. Yeah. Like, I think 6 months would be like a good. You got to move fast, but 6 months is more comfortable than I think like the 3-4 month period that we had. But I had so much help. So
the wedding day looked beautiful.
Thank you.
I keep talking about your dress, but like even your robe before the event, like I was like the details in this. It's like it looked so elegant, so beautiful.
Thank you.
Was there anything from that day though that you guys like regret? Because I see these videos all the time. It's like things I would change about my wedding, but maybe it's so fresh that it's like you don't have that perspective yet, or I don't know. How do you feel?
I don't have anything I would change. I think it's funny because everything definitely didn't go perfectly, like smoothly. There's
really?
Some very minor things, but like to me, I wanted everything to be like so perfect. Yeah. And so like there's just a lot of awkward things that kept happening that like.
Oh no.
Just like. just silly things. But it's just funny because
Our first dance was the most awkward thing in the world.
like
Why?
he talks about it all the time. It was terrible.
Because number one, I told Soph I didn't want to spin her around and dip her because I was like,
Stop.
Y'all,
you're,
he
you're
tripped on my dress, ripped it
No.
on our entrance, our wedding entrance.
No.
Our entrance. He spun me around and dipped me, ripped my bustle off my dress. And I was like, great, that was our wedding entrance. Can't do that again.
I told her a million times, I was like, I'm going to drop you. Your train, like if you spin around, it's going to wrap around your ankles. So her train
You're like
or whatever
thinking logistically, you're like,
wrapped
this
around
is-
my ankles.
practiced it so much
we
before
could
the
do
wedding.
it. We could do it in the living room a million times, but you don't have a train wrapping around my ankles that's like a rope. And so I did it. And sure enough, I step on her dress when I go to dip her. And so it's like super tight when I go to lift her back
Yeah.
up. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to let you fall. So I just pulled her right back up and it just ripped the back of her dress.
And then we went straight into the first dance, so I was flustered. It was just like
She was like talking to the crowd during our first dance. And I was like whispering in her ear. I was like, Soph, this is not the time. You can joke later.
It sounds like you don't like to dance very much. Are you big into dancing?
Dude, I do not have a rhythm bone in this body
we
ever.
stood there like going like this. Like when I did my dance with my dad, we were like, moving around.
Yeah.
It was so comfortable. But with Taylor, I was like, we were just moving like this. And I was like, this is terrible. So, and I was already nervous for it because everyone's just watching you.
Yeah.
You
Dancing
have a
just,
background in ballet, so I feel like for you, did you have to kind of take the reins and show him the way when you're on the dance floor?
We tried to practice so much before the wedding. I was like, we have to practice. You can't even walk barely in a circle.
we took like one step back, one step forward. It was just like back and forth. It was the.
It's on YouTube if you want to check it out.
I mean, it just wasn't. It wasn't it.
Did
Wasn't
they
it?
did they put 7-Up in your champagne glasses? Because that's what they did for us. We were 20 and 21, so they're like, you're not getting alcohol. Here's some 7-Up.
Sparkling cider.
We had sparkling cider.
Honestly, tastes so much better than
It was
wine.
great. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Did you have sparkling cider? Or did you have the real deal?
I had the real deal. I experienced the real deal.
See, I just didn't say anything. I was like, whatever. Like, I had just turned 21 when it was our wedding. And I was like, it's fine. I'll just drink the 7-Up. But that's nice that you got the real deal.
Sparkling
Yeah.
cider is a step up from 7-Up.
I was
That
about
is.
to say, I think I'd pick the sparkling cider over the
It was like
champagne all
apple
day long.
juice.
Yeah,
It was like apple juice.
that is good.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's crazy that you can be married but not legally able to drink in the United States.
Isn't that funny?
kind of crazy?
So funny.
Kind of crazy.
I-
And serve your country. You can serve your country. We were just talking about
Right.
this
Yeah, in the
earlier.
gym.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
But I think once you turn 21, you're like, I don't care anymore. Like,
That-
you're
Yeah.
like, I guess I can legally drink now. So it's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me.
I
But that is
technic-
kind of weird.
Yeah, I technically have 2 years till I can have alcohol, and I'm gonna have like probably 2
That's
babies
crazy.
by then. So that's fun.
You're
is-
like, I've had 2 epidurals. and-
Yeah.
That is fun.
crazy.
Would you change anything about the wedding, or do you like how do you feel about how it went overall?
I wouldn't change anything. It was so great.
it was the most like best day of my life
Yeah.
for
Wow.
sure.
They had a hilarious and viral TikTok. Did you
What?
see, Matt?
What was it?
That I feel like a lot of people that like wait till marriage can relate to. It was
Oh.
like when you come back from your honeymoon. Wasn't that what it
Oh,
was?
it was like,
And you're like with
hey.
your,
I think I saw that
with
one.
your friends or family, and it's like
Yeah.
everyone knows.
Dude,
Yeah.
my grandma the day after was like talking to us, and I was like, Grandma, can we pump the brakes on this conversation?
Wait, did y'all see
Because
family the day after?
The day
the
after.
morning after we had a
Yes.
breakfast because so many people traveled and we wanted to say hi
Yeah.
to them and like thank them
Yeah.
for traveling.
Oh,
Yeah, which I mean, like I'm glad we did that, but it was a little awkward.
not like
I
my
guess.
most
I don't know.
recommended
Like
thing.
everyone's thinking about it, you know. Like
You're gonna
whenever
see 'em at some
whenever
point.
one of my friends gets married, like you're like they're
Yeah.
doing it.
Matthew.
I don't know. Like
No, I think that every time someone gets married,
Or like
goes
when
through
you're
my head once.
when you're a
Swear.
kid too, and your teacher gets pregnant, you're like they had sex.
think that like you were
I
just
You
was
didn't think
homeschooled.
that growing
No.
up?
she's back from
Wow.
Once I had the talk, I was like, oh my gosh, Miss Sally did it. Like what?
What?
That is funny.
That's
Tapping your
different.
buddy in glass.
Yeah.
Dude, you see her
Dude,
tummy?
She got knocked off.
Y'all,
She didn't want to get out.
that is funny.
That is crazy. Oh
my gosh.
That was really funny.
Oh,
Are you
Did you
guys
went-
still in love?
yes. Yes.
We are more than in love.
We're like 5 months in.
Okay, have you had your first fight post or
Yeah.
marital fight?
Oh, yes. I don't know what it was, though.
Oh my
yeah, but
gosh.
nothing like serious. Like it's like
Mm.
it's always like Soph's moody, and I'm like, or like I'm playing Fortnite or something,
Yeah.
and she's not happy.
See, those are
So
red
it's like,
flags because like we still haven't had our
Matthew
first fight,
James.
so.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
trying to think of what
Major
our first
red
fight
flags.
post.
We've had so many. I can't even think of one. You know,
like,
what
if
I'm
I
saying?
said
Like, it's
no, that would be a lie. Like, there's been something.
just, like you named
Yeah.
something, we've had a fight.
right.
About
What about on the honeymoon?
Did we?
I don't think we actually had any fights on the honeymoon.
I feel like we definitely had one.
Oh, maybe we
definitely
did.
one in there.
Okay,
I
never
think we
mind.
had one.
Oh,
You were
probably when I
not
lost
happy
my
about
wedding
something.
ring.
Yeah, Abby lost her wedding
the
ring
honeymoon?
the
Yeah.
day of the first day of the honeymoon. Lost the wedding ring.
Oh my gosh, did you cry?
She was so
Oh.
upset.
It really wasn't as much because of the ring, but at the time, like, that was such an investment.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and I
and-
just felt so bad. I was like, Matt spent all that money on that ring.
Do you know how you lost it?
Cannot figure out for the life of me.
That hurt Matt's soul.
Yeah.
The band was still on my finger.
Do you have insurance on that thing?
Yes,
Good.
we did.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
bro.
We have insurance on the second one.
We got insurance. I think we have insurance. I honestly don't know if I paid the insurance in
Matthew.
a while. We probably don't have insurance on your ring anymore.
We wouldn't have had insurance the day after our wedding. Like we got it
We got
way
it like
after.
2 months after
So
the
we
wedding.
would have been.
Oh crap! Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not good.
No.
No.
Yeah,
It
and
is
you
fine
want
now.
Yeah,
insurance.
insurance.
That would have been a bum. Did you enjoy the honeymoon?
Yeah,
after
I
it
stopped
happened?
thinking about it.
Okay.
See, for me, I'm not really like, what's the word? Like nostalgic about things.
The specific
Right.
Like
item.
the specific
yeah.
item. I just mostly felt like so guilty.
Yeah.
And I was like, I also felt stupid. How did I let that happen? I don't know.
We called
People
around
lose their
everywhere
reason. We
trying
tried
to
our best.
trying to figure out like where it went. We've come to the conclusion that it got stolen.
Yeah, someone
Yeah,
scooped it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah, because I didn't have the band soldered to the ring, and the ring was still on my finger. So I'm like, I wouldn't have just the band was still on my finger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have just put the band on at the hotel in the morning and not the ring.
Right.
So something happened at the airport literally as I was going through security.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
right when we got to the other side of security, I like felt for it and it wasn't there.
So it like fell off.
Or someone took it, which I find that really hard to believe, but people swear to me when I tell them the story. They're like, pickpockets can take accessories
Yeah.
off of you
Wow.
without you knowing. I'm like, I don't know. It probably fell off and someone picked it up off the ground.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
what I'm
How-
thinking happened.
how was the honeymoon? You guys went to Curacao,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It was
Where-
awesome.
Where is that, by the way?
I don't know. Like I really
think-
cannot tell you.
I think it's next to.
I looked on the map. It's like you see Aruba. I don't
Okay.
know
That's
where
what
Aruba
it
is,
is.
but where Aruba is on the map, it's like right there.
Yeah. it's-
Curacao
over there.
sounds to me like a really good seasoning that you'd put on like chicken. Like, oh,
You're
can you pass me the
right.
Yeah.
Curacao? Thank you.
But-
And you like sprinkle it on. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't it called not
It's Curacao.
Cur-
I used to think it was Caraco.
Caraco? That's what
But it's
we were
Curacao.
like. We're going to Caraco.
We said that for the longest time.
We get there, they're like, "Welcome to Curacao." We were like, "Oh,
We had shared it on
We're-
social media so
And
much.
you're like, we're going to
Caraco.
Caraco, so we might need to like switch our flights.
100 times we said Caraco."
Like, I'm
So
sorry,
embarrassing.
turn this.
Did you ever think to look it up? Like, to just like do in Google, I always like look up to the pronunciation of things. 'Cause I do the same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, Caraco.
Dude,
A
it's
lot of
because it
people
has.
in our lives were calling it Caraco too.
Yeah,
So we
like
just
our parents were like, "Yeah, Taylor and Soph are going to Caraco."
terrible.
We were literally on our wedding day, like, y'all are pulling up.
Oh my gosh.
I guess it's like Morocco's twin. I don't know. I mean,
Dude, at this point, I just want to call it Caraco now.
that's what I was like.
sounds
We're
cool.
probably offending the whole entire population of Curacao.
1,000,000%.
and
pronounced it. Yeah,
we
I
are
don't know.
so sorry. We
But-
are so
But
sorry.
we did contribute to your tourism. So,
Yes.
I mean,
The
That's
people
good.
there, we talk about them all the time. What's her name? Denali. The people at the Sandals Resort, they were the best.
They were so funny.
Most fun, sweetest people
Right?
ever.
we did go to Sandals, and our honeymoon, or our first night there, we walked outside. There was not a single person there. They had a beach like disco party.
Whoa.
There was not a single person on the
We were the only ones
beach.
out
So me
there.
and Soph went out there and were like by
Everyone
ourselves.
was like 60 years old, so they were asleep by then.
yeah.
That's
So
Wait, were you guys the youngest people there?
Oh yes.
I love
there
that.
was
were
not a
upstairs.
person under like 50, 55 probably.
Yeah.
That's so fun. A lot
Cute.
of people that are, I'm sure, are retired and just like living it up,
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah.
Well, the honeymoon seemed to have been successful.
Did you make any good friends with some 65-year-olds? I'm curious. We made.
Okay.
We did. We made
did?
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
And
sweet.
we don't talk to them anymore. Like we don't
Aw.
still talk
One
to
of them
them.
gave
Do
me a
y'all?
hat.
From our honeymoon?
Yeah, do y'all?
we have friends
we
from
made
Germany?
we made the sweetest friends from Germany when we were in Hawaii one time on a trip, and they were just such a
No,
blast
we
to talk
are
to.
in touch with people from our honeymoon. Our
Wait,
servers
yes.
at
On a cruise that we were on.
We went on a cruise for our honeymoon, and our server, her name's Jasmine. We still message on.
We DM her. She's the
Yes.
sweetest. She's from the Philippines and just the sweetest
so
woman.
nice.
And
That is cool.
It seemed like it was a 55+ cruise ship, kind of like what you guys were
Yeah.
saying with your honeymoon, because we were the youngest people on that ship by far.
Wow.
But that's a fun vibe. It sounds like you guys had a really good time.
No,
Yeah.
and like I was saying, the honeymoon was very successful.
What do you mean? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hey, real quick, if you could please leave our podcast a review, we would really appreciate it. We're actually shouting you guys out. If you put your Instagram handle in the review, we're going to like shout you out in the episode, mid-episode. It's really cool. So Abby, go ahead and let us know what the review is that we have for today.
Okay, this review is from BritButt98.
Brit butt?
You heard it right.
Sorry.
It says, amazing show, 5 stars. Abby and Matt, you guys have gave us a whole show that's just absolutely breathtaking. You have done the ins and outs of parenthood, and you have gave us parents a bundle of happiness because we know we aren't alone. The episode with Devin and Hunter was one of my top favorites because I understand every bit of that one. My Instagram is at BritNorth21. Thank you guys for being you and giving us this show. Thank you so much, Brit.
I'm sorry.
Let's go, Brit
Apparently, all
Butt.
you need to do is say butt, and you'll get Matt and hysterical
I'm
laughter.
acting so immature right now.
Anyway, thank
okay.
you so much, Britt. We really appreciate the kind review. Thanks for putting your Instagram handle. If you also would like to leave us a review, include your Instagram handle so we can give you a proper shout out.
Yes.
And now back to the episode.
Did you guys make your baby on the honeymoon?
We are. That's
Sorry, I'm just.
Everyone asked that question. They're like, honeymoon baby, or like people will comment like when we posted and they're like, guys, the math is not mathing.
Yeah.
Like
Personally, I think it was like a week or two after.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you never know.
after
Were
the honeymoon.
people
After the honeymoon.
were people accusing you guys of doing it before the wedding?
Yes.
Day?
Yeah.
They were.
Very
Oh,
much
yeah.
so.
They were coming in
In
hot.
your personal life or just like people online?
I wouldn't say. I don't think
People
any,
online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyone in our
Pe-
personal
people
life.
probably talk that
Yeah.
we don't know about in our.
Yeah.
But yeah. So.
Yeah.
So now you guys are expecting your first baby.
Yeah.
So much life change. How do you guys feel about that? Was it
So
your plan
excited.
all along? Like you're
Yeah.
like,
Wait. Did you how did this work out? Were you like, yeah, I'm on birth control, and then like, psych? Like, how did this all happen?
Psych.
I
Full-
used to say I was gonna do that.
Oh,
I used to say like, if he's
So
not
don't-
on the same page as me, I'm gonna
Wait.
tell him I'm on birth control and I'm not gonna be.
Surprise, shouty.
Surprise, Shawty! I love that TikTok sound.
But no, it was all under his control.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's completely up to you. So you just decided to just to free.
This
Free
is the
solo
thing.
it.
He'd kind of go back and forth.
I was back like one day I'd be like, nah. One day I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
One day I'd be like, nah.
And I'm like, well, you got a lot of yeahs in there. It's gonna
Our
happen.
plan was to wait like 6 months. We were
Gotcha.
like, all right, 6 months, 8 months. We were pretty much on the same page. And then
I got too
one day
excited.
I just got
well,
a
you're
wild
thinking
hair,
a baby
and
takes
I was
9
like,
months.
Right.
we're sending it.
Wait, a wild hair?
Wait.
Yeah.
So you had like before you had
That's
planned?
just like a saying.
I've never heard him say that.
What that means,
you-
like like
Oh.
you just
Okay.
Was it like a whoopsies moment where you like, oh shoot, I don't know.
No, I was just like, well, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I was just
He
like,
was being oblivious.
I was like, it'll be all right, like whatever. And then
Yeah.
4 weeks, 6 weeks later, she's like, surprise, shawty, and I'm like, oh, all
Were
right.
you wait,
that
did you
what you
ever
told
use
him?
Hold up though. Did you ever use protection or no? There was never
No, no.
never did.
like
Getting used to
natural protection
Yes.
of like I get what you're saying.
I guess.
Pull out game
I
strong.
guess.
I get it.
You heard?
You want to say?
Everybody says that and I'm like that's not really a way to prevent.
Yeah. I don't think it's.
Yeah.
That's why we weren't being like that protective.
We weren't-
but
Yeah.
I was just a little oblivious.
So I feel like
on it.
people
I
are
was just
so
like-
irrational, you know. Like I think of myself as like a very logical, like planner. I think
Where
with certain
is this
things,
going?
and then you just
Help.
realize like humans are just so irrational. I feel like with that, like if you don't have like a firm plan in place for protection, it's going to
Right,
happen
in the moment.
I mean, obviously there's situations like there's fertility and all that stuff too, but like you got to be prepared for that because if,
Yeah.
if you're only doing the pull-out method and then something happens, like boom, you have a baby.
Is this
you know?
your
Yeah.
PSA?
This is a PSA for everyone listening.
Matt's
Yeah, it will
explaining how
happen.
we got pregnant.
That's right. No.
I was we were fine with it though. It was
Yeah.
like if it happens, it happens.
yeah,
and
we
wanted
were
it
excited.
to happen.
Like,
Totally.
Oh
totally.
yeah, and I can tell by the way that you guys both have talked about it. Like you guys are so ready and so
Yeah.
excited. That's amazing. And so tell me about the moment you found out it was a girl.
that was
Wait, hold up.
crazy.
But finding out, we skipped a step.
Oh
finding
yeah,
out
I
you're
watched
pregnant.
your video, so I felt like I was there.
Wait, I didn't
Yeah.
see the video. I want to know how you felt.
Yeah. So everyone in my family was like convinced I was pregnant because they were all asking like, I kind of made comments about how I was late, you know, and it became like 5 days in, and everyone
Oh,
knew
you
that.
waited 5 days.
Yes,
to
because
test.
I was
Oh.
I was like, I also didn't want to take a bunch of tests and see
That's how I
negatives.
was.
I wanted just a positive.
Yeah, that's how I was.
I also didn't think she was either.
Which, looking back, I'm like, guys, I have the most like normal cycles, I guess you could say. And so it was so obvious, like it was 5 days late. And so anyways, I got up one morning, early in the morning, and while he was asleep, I didn't tell him I was taking one. He didn't even know I bought tests.
And I was sleeping, like, I was on the couch watching the Masters golf tournament, so it wasn't like I was sleeping, like, at her house or whatever. It was middle of the day.
Yeah. And no, this was in the morning when I took the test. I didn't tell you till later. I didn't tell him till the next day. We were living at my parents' house. This was before we got our apartment. We were living at my parents' house, and I was like, I've got to figure out a way to tell him when no one else is around. Like when we're at my parents' house.
Were you so excited?
Yes. I
Oh
always
my
told myself
gosh.
I would have to tell him right after. I was always like that person. I would have to tell him right after. I ended up not telling him till the next day because we were just around family. Like I couldn't get him alone, and I wanted to tell him, and like I had always dreamed of the telling him and like doing the sweet stuff. So I literally had to wait until the next day. He fell asleep on the
That's what it
couch,
was.
and
I
I
fell asleep
ran
on
up
the couch.
into my room, set up the stuff, and then got him to come up. And then we told my family right after. And his
That
family.
same day.
So yeah, it was a hard day to not when he didn't know. I was the only
Yeah.
one who knew for a whole day.
Oh
So.
gosh.
And was your first like instinct excitement, sadness, a mix of both? Like how did you feel initially when you found out you were pregnant?
Excitement. I mean, I've literally just always wanted to have kids, and so
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was shocked though. You know, I
Yeah.
just did. I don't know. In my head, I felt like I was gonna be pregnant, but I was so convinced it was gonna be negative.
Yeah.
I saw a
So-
video that I couldn't relate to more. It was like me looking at a positive pregnancy test, knowing fully well like what it takes to make a baby,
Right.
and just being like,
Nope.
what in the
Right.
Yeah.
Confused
it's,
at how it happened.
it's such a weird feeling when it's personal to you.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, whoa. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's the realization is at the same time, it's like, it's happening right now.
Right.
It's not like, oh, you're going to be, or
Right,
like you
you
can.
are.
Like you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's in you. And you're
You've
just like,
been for a little.
you didn't even know.
maybe like a hot 2 weeks or something. I don't know. So
Taylor, how did you feel?
It was so, like I said, I didn't have any inclination. I was just like, she's not pregnant.
I
Like,
was scared
it-
he was gonna be mad
And,
Really?
oh.
and so, well, that's sad.
because he was so back. He was so back and forth. He was so back and forth on if he wanted a kid right now or not. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like what if he doesn't? But he was excited.
And so I walked in, she had this thing, and it said, hello, Daddy, can't wait to meet you. And it was like all the pregnancy tests. And it's like I was so happy, but at the same time, I was not expecting it. So I was so shocked. On top of that, you have this feeling of like nervousness as well. Like, am I ready? Like, well, you don't have a
Yeah.
choice at that point, but it's like, okay, you have to be ready. But I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just like nervousness, shock, and excitement. Like, and now it's just, I feel like now it's all excitement. Like, I cannot imagine life different already than how it is right now. So yeah, in the moment, it was just like all those emotions. But at no point was I like, dang it, or, mad or anything like that. I just,
Sweet.
Was your family just thrilled?
My mom dropped to the floor and hysterically cried her eyes out.
Oh
like
my
of
gosh.
excitement. Like
Of excitement, yes.
Wow.
And his mom cried. Everyone was so excited. They were shocked. I think his family was more shocked. They really thought we were waiting.
Yeah.
But my mom kind of knew I was like too excited to wait that long. So I think she knew it was coming sooner than later. But yeah, they were shocked and so excited.
Now you're 19 and pregnant.
19 and pregnant. I'll be 20 when she's here.
You
though.
could have your own show. Teen
yeah,
pregnancy.
you guys could like start your own teen pregnancy show.
Wait, you know how people post and they're like, I beat teen pregnancy or
Like on their
whatever.
20th birthday?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I didn't.
You didn't.
wow.
That should be. You should make
was
that.
planned,
That
though.
should be a. That should
know.
be a
It's
title of one
planned.
of your YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I didn't beat teen pregnancy.
No, that's so. But it's just so cool how mature you are and how like you guys have. I don't know. Grown so close, and this was just like it's a beautiful thing. It's a really exciting thing. So I'm just like I'm so excited for you
It's
guys.
amazing. You
And-
found out it's a little girl.
Yes.
Little girl.
Name picked out.
No. We talk about it all the time. We like a lot of names, but it's just I'm the worst at making decisions. I like need someone to make it for me. I'm like I don't think I can make that big of a decision. The name of our child, I don't know. That's like the biggest decision I feel like there is. So we're struggling. I think we had some more boy ideas in our head because I thought it was a boy, and then we found out it was a girl, and I was like, well, I don't know. I have no idea. So
We hear names and we're like, yeah, those are cute, but they don't like
Feel
Feel
like your
your-
baby's
yeah.
name.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's funny. I think in our current environment, a lot of people feel the need to make this like super unique name. Do you think you'll go for a more unique name or more of like a normal, like, I don't want to say normal, but like a name like Matt or a name like Abby or something more different? Like,
We all have common names.
Right. Yeah, us too.
yeah.
I don't think we'd go for like, I don't think we've thrown around any names that are like super unique.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, none of them are like a super one you don't hear often.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I really just, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
but
don't even know how to find names. I'm like on the internet and I'm looking up like girl names.
Girl names.
How
I
are
just
you?
can't-
How are you feeling right now? You made it through the first trimester. Was that pretty tough? That first trimester?
Yeah, I say it was, and then I hear other people's stories, and I'm like, wow, I'm such a baby. Like, I had it so much better than most people do. But I had just a solid month in the first trimester where I was so sick. But after that, I'm like, I feel asymptomatic. Is that what you'd say? And I'm just like, just chilling. Like, I would forget I was pregnant sometimes because I didn't have a bump. I was having no symptoms. So I felt great ever since that 1 month.
Wow.
But, yeah.
And you're just chilling right now. Like,
Just chilling.
she's eating everything in sight, but I mean,
Yeah,
she's
she's,
hungry
she's
and-
chilling.
who eats
Yeah.
more right now?
Definitely me.
Definitely her, but it has rubbed off on me. Like,
Yeah.
she's eating like 5 meals a day, so I'm like, well, I,
like
have
him
to
to
eat
eat
5
when I
meals.
eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a group
Yeah.
thing.
Makes
I
me
was
feel
like
better.
on the gym grind, but she's over here eating like pizza and ice cream, and I'm like, I can't watch you. Like, I have
Yeah.
to join.
Have
And I
to
know-
partake.
I know you guys shared in a recent YouTube video about how you had a really scary incident, a health scare that came up. I believe it's just a couple weeks ago or a month ago or so. Talk to me about that. What exactly happened? There was, what exactly is going on, I guess?
Yeah, so I have a heart condition. It's called Wolff Parkinson White. I've had it ever since I was little, but the doctors told me as I got older I could grow out of it. And basically what it is, I have an extra pathway in my heart that most people don't have. And it can get triggered sometimes. Caffeine can trigger it. Being super active can trigger it. And once it gets off on that extra pathway, it just gets thrown off into like a crazy cycle and my heart rate just jumps up. So like it just
Wow.
jumps from 80 to 200 just by sitting here. And so as I was getting older, I kind of leaned off my medication, stopped worrying about caffeine because I started noticing no symptoms. My
Yeah.
episodes, that's what we call it. Like every time that would happen in an episode, they just stopped happening really. And so I hadn't had one for years. And then now that I'm pregnant, I was just sitting on the couch maybe 2 weeks ago and I'm just sitting. I'm not even doing anything. And my heart just goes to 200 beats, like basically it was like 198, I think. And so
Out of nowhere. It started beating rapidly.
out of nowhere. And
You knew this feeling though,
yes.
from your previous episode,
right. And I had never gone like to the hospital or anything for it because I knew I had it. I knew what I needed to do to try to like make it go away. You can like get upside down on your head
Yeah.
or put ice packets on your wrists and just wait for it to go away. Usually my episodes would last like 3 minutes when I was
Yeah.
younger. But this one lasted 25 minutes and it wasn't going away no matter what I did. And it was just really scary just knowing that I'm pregnant. It just felt weird because when my shirt's like moving and I know there's
Yeah.
a baby right here, it's just freaking me out.
How do you, going upside down on your head, are you like trying to do a handstand against the wall?
That's exactly what they tell you to do.
You're kidding.
They tell you to
Wow.
literally get upside down
That's
on your
kind
head.
of hard too. Like
Yes.
I feel like not everyone could do a handstand against the wall.
Right. I like to do it usually on the couch. Like just get
Okay.
upside. It's a little
Just
more
like-
comfortable. I'm like, this is not what I feel like doing right now. My
Yeah.
shirt's literally moving.
I think it has to do with like the blood flow. Like it
Yeah.
changes the flow of blood somehow.
Living with that condition, are you just like constantly practicing handstands against the
No.
wall?
She hadn't had an episode, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
And I honestly didn't do that as much. Like I would usually stick to the ice packs and just be like, all right, let's see if the ice packs
Yeah.
work. And they would go away pretty quickly. But this, we just immediately jumped in the car and went over to the hospital just because we were just really concerned with being pregnant and stuff. And so now I'm just on medications that are safe for pregnancy and it's just supposed to keep my heart.
from going into that like other rhythm.
Yeah.
And so after pregnancy, probably a month to 2 months afterwards, she has to have a procedure ablation. It's called an ablation. It's where they'll burn or freeze that extra pathway in the heart to just completely eliminate it, and then she won't have the syndrome anymore.
And where were you when that episode happened? Were you home? Were you away?
So I pulled up right at the house. I was literally stepping out the car, and she goes, "My episode." So I run inside,
You knew about
Thankfully.
this. Yeah, you already were aware of the condition.
Right. And so I ran straight inside. It got to like, she was on the phone with her mom for like the first 10 minutes. And I was like, hey, do we need to go somewhere? You know, I want to make sure the baby's okay. I want to make sure you're okay. She's like, no, you know, I've never went to the hospital before. And I was like, okay, well, we figured out, or she told me that her longest one ever was like 3 minutes. And we got to minute like 12. And I was like, nope, we're going. So we got in the car, started zooming to the hospital. And it stopped right before we got to the hospital.
It always does that,
but
you know.
They checked her out, and luckily I recorded it on my watch, like the ECG, so it just shows like her heart rate, exactly what the rhythm looks like and everything.
Totally.
And then that helped the doctor decide what medicine and stuff like that.
Do you wear a smartwatch or like an Oura ring or something to track your heart rate?
I don't. They've put me on a monitor before and had me wear it for like weeks at a time just so they could watch me, but they didn't recommend any of that for this.
And she feels like when it happens though, like it's like immediately when it starts, she feels that
My
other
whole body
rhythm.
feels weird.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if that data, I'm shocked they didn't say that. I mean, I'm obviously not a doctor, but I feel like that data would be helpful for them to keep track of things. I don't know.
I think so too. I just think it's because since I'm pregnant, surgery isn't really an option.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done it before to pregnant women, but it's just not really an option right now. So it's literally, we're just trying to wait till I deliver, and then we're just going to go ahead and do surgery.
So right now you really can't work out. You can't like run. Are you able to, I don't know, do any sort of physical activity or like what are you allowed to do?
I am. I mean, even before I was pregnant, they kind of just told me watch your cardio and stuff.
They just don't want her doing like extensive stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll walk, but I'm not going to do anything like running or anything like that.
So even before this incident, like you can't really go on like a long hike or it could affect.
Definitely not recommended. No.
Really?
And I mean, I'm, it's just known that like I've got to have a water. I typically have to sit down a lot. Like it's just, I like would pass out just all the time. Like
I'm so sorry. That's not fun.
Yeah. I got so used to it. I thought it was just normal life. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
This isn't really actually normal. Maybe I should just get the surgery and then I won't have to deal with this anymore.
And that'll be good once she gets the surgery because all that, you know, the quality of life will obviously go up because all those options will be available.
Oh, really? So
her.
once you get the procedure, you will be able to do
Yeah.
everyday things again and go on a run or go on a hike.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Like I never had it, basically.
Yeah. But your whole childhood, you had to refrain from running and refrain from.
So I grew up dancing my whole life, and but that would always be when an episode would happen.
Really?
I'd be in class, and luckily, like the instructor and everything knew. Like he'd be like, "Get on top of your head." Like he knew if I needed to and stuff. But so I danced my whole life, and I was fine. But that would always just be what would trigger an episode. And so they would just say, if you don't have to, don't take it easy and stuff. And so I was fine. I just couldn't have caffeine like that. Couldn't have any caffeine my whole childhood. And I had to stay on medication every day.
Gotcha. So I'm guessing you're not a coffee drinker.
No.
Okay.
No sodas, coffee.
Really?
Yeah,
Stop
nothing.
drinking sweet tea.
I had to
No
when I was
sweet-
younger.
Isn't there? Do they make decaffeinated sweet tea?
They
Is that
do.
a thing? Okay.
That was my thing.
But
I
like
made
when you go-
pictures at home.
When
Yeah.
you go to like a restaurant though, and that's where she would get it the most is like
Oh,
you wouldn't.
yeah.
It was
they
soul
don't have that
crushing as a
option.
kid. They were like, no chocolate, no Coke, and I was like, okay.
Oh, that's so sad. It's weird. In Arizona, sweet tea isn't really a thing. It was a thing in Missouri when I grew up. Like my mom loved sweet tea. My whole family would
I bet
have
most
sweet
restaurants
tea.
here don't even have
Yeah.
it.
I asked.
It's more of a southern thing for sure. But like I grew up drinking sweet tea all the time.
It's the best
Love
drink.
sweet tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's next for Taylor and Soph? I know you guys were telling me you have some big ambitions, some big things that you're hoping to accomplish. You being a ballerina, I think you mentioned it'd be amazing to one day maybe open up your own studio.
Yeah.
And Taylor, you were saying, you love the gym, you like working out. It would be cool to open a gym. Are those things you're hoping to do at some point in the future?
Yeah, those two things are like our dream. Like, I feel like we're both passionate about that. Number one being social media is our passion, so we want to grow that as much as we can. We want to show ourselves on there and, connect with our audience, but at the same time, we want to have a brick and mortar type of thing. So that's just things we're walking through right now, praying about, using discernment and talking to like family and friends and looking at like the financial side of things and stuff like that. So that's like us just dreaming big. But with that being said, we were dreaming big in June and we hit a lot of our dreams. So dreaming big can definitely happen.
Isn't the first year of marriage just so much fun? Like, you guys having a blast right now?
A blast. On top of that, like just the traveling and just like the social media side of things, like that has added to that. Like the first year of marriage is amazing, but doing it like now we're doing life together in the sense of like, we're traveling to Arizona. We've never been to Arizona. We're traveling to Nevada next week. We've never been there.
I've dreamed of marriage because I like to have someone to do everything with is just so fun. Like just going to sleep and waking up. You've always have like a person there with you. You know, you're not like alone. So
she's my best friend.
Aw.
Sweet. I'm so happy for
sweet.
you guys.
Yeah. Well, Taylor and Soph, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yes, thank you.
It's so fun just getting to
us.
chat, and thank you for flying out here. If you guys haven't checked out them on social media, you can find them on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. It was a pleasure to sit down with you guys, and you guys are a very sweet couple, and you're very mature for your age. I can't believe you guys are 19 and 21. That's crazy.
Thank
we
you
got
so
the rest
much.
of the weekend to hang out. Off camera.
And I'm just very excited for you guys. Like, you guys are in such a cool stage of life right now, and just a lot of big changes. So I'm really excited for you.
Can't wait to see that little baby girl. I've already said I feel like she's gonna look just like you.
She is. She's definitely gonna look just like him.
Awesome. Well, now this is where we say peace out, dudes, to everybody, because that's that's how we end our videos. So 3, 2, 1.
Peace out, dudes.